Yes, mate, how's it going? My name's Lee, and welcome back to the FPL Punk YouTube channel, where we try to dominate FPL one game week at a time. This video is an early look at my transfer plans for game week 22. We still need to figure out how we're going to get Haaland back. I've got a couple of players on my team that I just really hate owning right now, and I really want to transfer them out. So stick around to see what I think are the best options for game week 22 for each position. Subscribe to the channel down below if you enjoy Fantasy Premier League. Anyway, let's rock and roll.
Be strong.
Right, mates, this is my boss team for game week 22. I've opted for Areola in goal ahead of Matt Turner at home to Bournemouth. Decent fixture for West Ham. I've kept Trippier, Sterling and Archer all on the bench. In defence, we've got Pedro Porro, William Saliba, Ben White and Purvis Estupinan. In midfield, I've gone for Cole Palmer ahead of the likes of Trippier and Sterling, only because he's on penalties. I've got Saka and Foden. Foden is currently set as my captain right now with Saka as vice. Anthony Gordon makes up the midfield with Alvarez and Watkins up front. So in terms of my team is worth 93.3 million and I've got 11.1 million in the bank with one free transfer. I hate owning Ben White. Raheem Sterling is doing my head in. He's ticking along nicely, but I think there's better explosive options out there, and we still need to think about how we're going to get Haaland back, as well as a few different kind of players to think about. So let's look at the Haaland situation right now and kind of think what we can do moving forward. So prior to the Newcastle game, we did get an update on Haaland's injury status, and Guardiola, and I quote, "The doctor decided to stop for 1 week and maybe restart in Abu Dhabi. Hopefully at the end of this month, Haaland will be ready." It was a little bit more than we expected in the beginning. It's a bone, it needs time to heal, to recover. Every injury you can do whatever you want, but it's a question of time. That to me says he might be back for game week 22, game week 23, I'm not 100% sure. Play it by ear, I won't make any major decisions right now, and we'll just kind of keep going with what we've got. For right now, I think if you've got the likes of Alvarez up front, I'd just keep Alvarez, and if you've got Foden and De Bruyne as well, I'd just keep those as well. Like, I wouldn't be making any kind of rash decisions around the Haaland situation. If you don't own Haaland for a week, it's not the end of the world, and it's probably better to wait for that information and wait for him to come back and play that one game when he does come back from injury, rather than kind of jump the gun and try and get ahead of the curve and then he doesn't even play anyway. So I probably want Haaland to play at least one game before I even start thinking about bringing him in. Or we get a week, we get a lot of information that says Haaland is 100% ready, he's 100% going to play, but we do have a break between game week 21 and game week 22, so we don't really know what's going to happen. I won't be making any rash decisions right now, and hopefully we get some information between now and the start of game week 22 anyway. But if you are thinking of bringing Haaland in now, or you've already kept him, if you've already kept him, I'd probably just keep him now. Like, and you've already committed to keeping him, I'd probably just keep him and just kind of roll with it. But if you are thinking of bringing him in, leave a comment down below, give me reasons why. I think it's probably the wrong move right now, and you could be looking at elsewhere and trying to sort the fires out in the rest of your team. So the one player I am considering transferring out this week is Raheem Sterling, midfielder for Chelsea. And I think I've got a few different options out there, and this list is not extensive. There's a lot of different options out there. These are 4 names I've kind of picked out of a hat and just been like, these are like my main 4 players that I am considering, but there are other options out there. If you can think of any more options, leave a comment down below of players that you think I could bring in for Raheem Sterling. But first up, we've got Richarlison, 6.9 million midfielder, playing for Spurs. He's basically playing like a number 9, playing up front for Spurs, like one of the better teams in the league. And he's so cheap, like he's even cheaper than Sterling. And in his next 2, he's at home to Brentford and away to Everton. But these are solid games for Richarlison. And if he keeps that number 9 spot for his own, I think he's just going to fly and just keep going this season. He played pretty well today against Man United, and he's slowly getting better as that number 9. And I think he can only kind of improve as he gets more minutes and more time playing as that main striker for Spurs. And if I can kind of convince myself that Richarlison is going to play number 9 for the majority of the minutes he does play, Richarlison is probably the one I'm going to go for. De Bruyne, I mean, it's just a hype train, and he came on 25 minutes, got the goal, got the assist against Newcastle. He just looked back to his best. He looks unbelievable, as he does all the time. 9.4 million, 12.8% owned. His price is skyrocketing, his ownership is skyrocketing. He's at home to Burnley and away to Brentford in game week 23. Just have the double in 25 as well, so he's got that going for him. I think if you've got the likes of Foden and Alvarez right now, I think getting De Bruyne on top of that obviously limits you going for Haaland. Unless you are going to transfer Alvarez out for Haaland, So that might be kind of a sticking point for someone like KDB. Pascal Gross is a bit of a safe, boring pick, but Brighton have got such a great run of fixtures, and he's really, really well priced at 6.5 million, 6.6% owned. Takes some set pieces. Got Wolves in 22 and Luton away in game week 23. Solid option. You know he's going to play. You just don't know where he's going to play. If he's playing that kind of right back role, I'm not completely convinced. I want him playing number 10, drifting around, letting him do his thing. He's going to tick away nicely, and he'll get the odd haul here and there, but he's probably the safe, boring pick. With that great run of fixtures, it's going to be very, very hard to bench. So if you have got a lot of attackers and a lot of midfielders and a lot of good forwards, if you are going to bench one of them every single week, it's going to be hard to bench Pascal Gross every single week, or even consider benching him and when he's just so good. So he's probably the boring pick, and he's probably not really someone probably going to go for, but I felt his name needs to be mentioned right now. A few people are kind of talking about him, probably not being discussed as enough as he probably should be, but I can see the reasons why people aren't considering someone like Gross and Pascal Gross at the same time. But great run of fixtures, and we know what he provides for that Brighton team. And if he's not on your radar and you've already got Richarlison, KDB and Garnacho, then maybe Gross might be your man. Last but not least, we've got Alejandro Garnacho, 4.8 million, absolutely cheap as chips, and that's one of his biggest selling points. 5.6% owned. Away to Wolves, not the greatest game, but he looks like he's kind of nailed down his starting spot in that Man United team. Even today, Rashford came off and Garnacho stayed on, so I think he might be a decent option. Like, he's not going to get goals on a regular basis, he won't get assists on a regular basis, but at that kind of price range, you can just drop him in and out, and that might be your 8th attacker, and you can just drop him in and out, and he doesn't feel as bad to bench every single week, or even think about benching every single week, because if you've got Garnacho for a sub, he's only 4.8 million. You don't expect a lot from him. So this is who I believe is the best transfer for each position. If you're on a wild card, if you've got a spare transfer hanging around, this is the best option in each position. If you consider a goalkeeper transfer, I still think it's hard to look past someone like Leno. He's just a solid, dependable goalkeeper. Like, he's not someone like an Areola who's kept a lot of clean sheets recently, got that recency bias kind of behind him. Leno's kept regular clean sheets throughout the course of the season, and I think he's the 3rd highest point scoring goalkeeper in FPL. I think he'll slowly tick along and he'll slowly do well, and it's basically just a plug and play. Stick him in, start him every single week, and I think he'll get you returns, he'll get you save points, he'll get you the odd clean sheet here and there. Bernd Leno, great option. In defence, and I just can't look past Estupiñán. I already own Estupiñán, and if you don't own him, I just don't know why you wouldn't consider someone like Estupiñán. 5.1 million defender, about 25% owned within the game. His ownership is only going to rise over the course of this time. I've already spoke about Pascal Gross's fixtures, obviously the same with Estupiñán. Great run of fixtures for Brighton, and if they can keep that odd clean sheet here and there, combined with Estupiñán's attacking prowess, he returned in over 50% of his games this season, albeit like he's only played 8 games in the league this year. 2 goals, 3 assists. If he maintains something along that kind of region, you're just going to be absolutely blasting everyone away. Per Estupiñán, best defensive option right now. In midfield, if you don't own Cole Palmer, because he's only owned by 37.5% of the game, get him in, mate. He's just an absolute machine. Like, absolute great player, and he's so dependable. And Chelsea are so reliant on Palmer to play well. He's on penalties, plays every single week. 5.8 million. I mean, they're playing Liverpool this week, but then they've got Wolves and Palace in the next 2 weeks after that. I think you can even play him against Liverpool because he is on penalties and he is probably their key player. Palmer, if you need a midfielder, he's number 1, easy. Best forward to bring in this week would be Solanke. Away to West Ham in game week 22, but then at home to Forest in game week 23. 7.1 million forward, playing for Bournemouth, 27.6% owned. Been in great form this season. Scored about 12 goals, got 1 assist, and he's just been steady, and he's got the hat-trick potential. And as we saw a few weeks ago, and that's something I love about him. Like he's always capable of scoring goals. He's always capable of scoring a hat-trick, and he is on penalties, which is something I absolutely love in any kind of player. They're the 4 players I've identified for each position as the best transfers to bring in for game week 22. So coming back to my team for game week 22, and it all revolves around Haaland. If Haaland is confirmed fit, I can use my 1 free transfer and either transfer out Archer or Alvarez, because I've got that much money in the bank. I can transfer out either one of those players. But if I want KDB in the future, Alvarez is probably the one to go for right now, but hopefully we get some information and I can make a decision on that. But I could do Archer to Haaland and play Alvarez, Watkins and Haaland up front. In that case, I would probably drop Palmer down to the bench. But I would still be open for taking a hit, and it's only really open for kind of Sterling slot alongside that. And I would probably look at going to Richarlison, and in that case, Palmer would once again drop to the bench. Richarlison would take that spot, although I'm still concerned about his minutes, and I need to kind of convince myself that this might be the one to go for. Or if I did go from Alvarez to Haaland, I would potentially do Archer to Solanke. So the two players I'm potentially taking a hit for would either be Richarlison or Solanke. In that case, it would mean moving to a 4-3-3, which I'm not a massive fan of. But I could just use my 1-free transfer to go either Archer to Alvarez to Haaland, and in that case, I'll probably just keep Sterling on the bench for that Liverpool game, because Chelsea, like I said, do have Wolves in 23, followed by Palace in game week 24. So it's not, so they're not the worst fixtures in the world, and it might not be a bad plan just to kind of roll with that and kind of see how it goes. But we're going to hit a point coming up very, very soon where rolling transfers are going to be the priority. Maybe not this week, but I think from game week 22, game week 23, we might need to start thinking about how we're going to roll these transfers to get the likes of Salah and Son easily back in the team. Otherwise, we're going to take multiple hits to get these guys back in the team, and that might not be worth it. I'm not sure right now, but for this week, we're fine. Use your transfers, do whatever you need to do, take hits, but have that in the back of your mind that we might need to start rolling some transfers sooner rather than later. Right, mates, that's it for today's video. So we went for my transfer plans for game week 22. So went for my team as it is right now, my bus team, highlighted some different options within that midfield slot, particularly surrounding the Raheem Sterling and what I'm going to do with him. Tried to highlight the best solution for that, and then we moved on to the best transfer for each position in the game. Focusing on one player for the goalkeeper slot, defensive slot, midfielder and forward slot, who I believe are the best options in each one of those positions. And then we moved on to my team as I kind of hope it would look in game week 22. Talked through my plan and the different options I can take, whether I'm just going to use my 1-free transfer or whether I'm going to take a hit or even 2 hits. If you enjoyed today's video, don't forget to subscribe, leave a like and leave a comment down below. Have a good day, peace and love.